approaching, and then we'll open the floor for questions.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to be here today to talk about our women's basketball program. It's a really exciting time for me in particular. The last couple of years, we've had a very young team, and we've kind of taken our lumps in the ACC. We have a few battle scars to show for it, but we are returning probably the most talented team, the most deepest team, the hardest working team that I've ever put on the court here in the 13 years I've been at Georgia Tech. And so the first couple of practices have shown me that we have an opportunity to do something very special with this group. The incoming freshman class is probably the most talented 4 freshmen that I've ever recruited to Georgia Tech. And the 2 players we had sitting out last year that we redshirted that were transfers, one from Ohio State and Kaylin Pugh, a guard that was a top 25 player in the country coming out of high school, is definitely going to be an impact player when she becomes eligible. And Alo Edefereke, a transfer post player from Hofstra, definitely has an opportunity to be a pro long term. She will be an impact player in the ACC. And Zaire O'Neal, having her back 100% for the first time in over a year, is very exciting. And we go to practice, and sometimes I feel like our practices the last couple we've had, I feel like they've been more competitive than some of the games we played last season. So it's just a very exciting time for me in our program.
Coach, you lost your leading scorer, leading rebounder. Who do you see picking up the slack for those 2 big losses?
Well, a great compliment to our seniors last year. All 3 of them are signed pro contracts and are playing in Europe. So that's a huge compliment to our program. It's a huge compliment to them. And obviously, we're going to miss their leadership. Aaliyah Whiteside and Rodrika Rogers for 4 years. Obviously battled night in and night out in a tough league and provided a lot of leadership for us in their senior year. But the fact that we have 7 returning upperclassmen for the first time in 4 years gives us a lot of leadership, a lot of stability, and a lot of just toughness and experience heading into the season.
How do you see the points shaking out? Obviously, Imani is probably going to be in net, Tony. How do you see that working out? And that seems to be a strength heading into the season.
Well, the other exciting part is we were able to, the late pickups we got in the late summer, we were able to secure a transfer student that graduated from 3 years from Eastern Michigan. She scored 1,800 points in 3 years. So she averaged 18 points a game for 3 years, and she's a backup point guard for us. So her and Imani are really battling it out for that position. And it's been a long time since I've had 2 quality, experienced point guards. So now we have a junior and a senior point guard. And I think that was a weakness of ours heading into last season, just the depth at that position. And I feel like we were able to answer that question, bringing Shea Sweeney in from Eastern Michigan. She's definitely going to make a contribution immediately. We're able to slide Antonia Parison over to a shooting guard position, which is her natural spot. And so I think that's been a huge asset for us to be able to secure a player like Shea.
It looks like your schedule in the non-conference is a little tougher. Is that a response to kind of the sort of depth and talent you feel like you have?
Yeah, we definitely went out and after going 8-8 in the ACC last year, that was the first time since I've been at Georgia Tech that we went 8-8 and didn't get in the NCAA tournament. So I felt like one of the things we had to do was beef up our non-conference schedule, and I feel like we've done that. We're playing. The Big Ten Challenge, we've always played in that. We've always played Georgia. We've added Alabama. We're going to the Bahamas and playing 2 teams that were in the NCAA tournament last year. So it's a really tough non-conference schedule, but it's one I'm really excited about. We're going to Middle Tennessee State, which is a really tough place to play, and they're usually win their league and are in the tournament. So it gives us an opportunity early to address our weaknesses, find out where we are, and really get our young players and some of the new players some experience heading into ACC play.
Coach, with this new tougher schedule, how important is it with the depth that you talked about to try to get your program to be back where it was before?
Well, I think one of the things is just getting all the, it's going to be tough to decide which 10 players are going to play. Again, it's a very competitive situation. If you ask me what player wasn't going to play of the 14 players I have, I couldn't answer that question right now. So I think it's really important for us to figure out, who those 10 players are that are going to play consistently night in and night out. And it's important to get those players minutes early on in the non-conference schedule.
Is that a good challenge?
I love that challenge.
So Imani played as a freshman. She's a junior now. She's going up against some of the top guards in the conference, taking her lumps, had growing pains. Where do you feel she's at right now?
I definitely think Imani has addressed her weaknesses. She spent the entire summer in the gym working on her perimeter shooting. I think that's been a Achilles heel for her and for us because we were playing 5 against 4. Or 4 against 5, on the offensive end because nobody was guarding her. And I really challenged her to step up in the offseason and address that weakness. And I feel like early on in practices, she's been able to establish herself as a consistent perimeter shooter. And that's a huge change. And like you mentioned, it's so important to have a veteran point guard in this league and to have somebody who has started every game basically from her freshman year, sophomore year, and now going into her junior year. We took our lumps with her early, but I honestly believe the next 2 years it's going to pay off the experiences that she's had.
Good problem to have. I have a lot of guys to try to choose from in terms of finding that 10. But what is the early identity you're starting to see emerge from this team in practice? I know it's early, but just from what you're seeing so far to maybe get fans excited about this team.
Well, one of the things we really talk about is our core values, and this program was built 13 years ago when we took over. We built this program on being blue collar, and the thing I'll say about this team, the identity that's really emerged is their work ethic. Their chemistry. I mean, they don't care who plays; they just want to win. And I haven't seen as many players dive on the floor after loose balls or take charges or battle each other for rebounds as I've seen in this group, top to bottom. It's not 1 or 2 players as it's been the last 3 years. It's literally 14 players out there every single day competing. And that's really hard to establish, that kind of chemistry, that kind of work ethic. And, I'm really pleased with the off season that we had. I'm really pleased with the buy-in that we've had and the commitment to our core values. And honestly, I've said this several times, I feel like this team is very special. I can't tell you who the best player is, and I don't know, every night there might be a different player emerge as the leading scorer. And that's okay with me. In the past, we've had to try to get shots for 1 player or 2 players because we had to play to our strengths. Now we have tremendous balance, and that's exciting.
Zaire came back last year from her injury, but you could tell she wasn't able to do a lot of the things she wanted to do. Is she at the point now where you feel that she can be who Zaire O'Neal really is?
Right. Last year it was really tough on her. It was really tough on me to watch her struggle. She wanted to come back for her team. She knew we needed her, but she wasn't ready, mentally. I think physically she was cleared by the doctors, obviously, and the trainers, but mentally after an injury like that, it was tough for her to come back. In the off season, now she's been past a full year and a half. She's lost weight. She's gotten in better condition. She's definitely not only back to where she was as a freshman, but she's advanced, obviously, with the experiences she's had. And early on in practice, she's had that kind of take charge mentality, and it's great to have a presence inside that demands the ball in every possession, and that's the way Zaire is. And she's a veteran now. She's a junior, and she's played a lot of minutes for us.
I'm curious. I'm guessing you got a chance to talk with Todd Stansbury. I'm curious what your impressions were and maybe what you know about him now.
I haven't had a chance to meet Todd yet or talk to him, but I'm impressed, with his resume, obviously. And, anybody that can get a degree from Georgia Tech is all right in my book. I'm looking forward to working with him. I'm looking forward to having an opportunity to meet him. And, last year he was at Oregon State where they led their women's basketball program, went to the Final Four. So, that's exciting for me that he's been a part of something like that.
You mentioned the classes. I think you said your freshman class is your best or deepest. Like the 4 together, you're saying are the best, or can you kind of expand a little bit on what you meant?
Well, I feel like top to bottom, this is the most talented athletic class that I've signed as a whole. Francesca Pon, who was ranked the number 3 player in the world in Europe, coming out. She's a tremendous talent. She's represented her country. She's been on Team Italy since she was 14 years old. She's played at the highest level. She's traveled the world. She's got great experience, but she's 6'2". She can score. She's a 2-3 guard that can score and with range. And again, she's just a tremendous athlete that is a great competitor. Then, in addition to that, we were able to sign Shannon Scott late from Charlotte. She had originally signed with Kentucky and was released from her NLI, and we were able to pick her up late, and she's a 6'1", 6'2", 2-3 guard that's a tremendous athlete that can really defend and rebound and score. She gets up and down the floor with a lot of speed and quickness, and she comes from a great program at Myers Park where she's won state championships, and she's a all-around athlete. I mean, she's won state championships in track and basketball, and she's just a great addition to our team. And then Ann Diop, the freshman 6'4" post player from Senegal that we were able to sign early in the signing period, is a complete surprise. The development she got from 1 year attending IMG Academy in Florida, she really blossomed. Her body changed. She's got a college body. She came to Georgia Tech with a college body, and she's really been competitive early on with our post players, with Zaire O'Neal and Alo Edafrike, and I'm very, very excited about the future with Ann. I think she's got tremendous talent. And Zatoria Cook is the fourth freshman. She's another point guard that's from Georgia. She tore ACL and sat out last year, but she got released 2 days before her first official practice, and she's been very impressive early on. With the depth and the athleticism we have, we can get back to playing the way we were used to playing, with 94 feet and pressing and trapping and running the way we want to. And that's been really exciting for me to see.